All right. It looks like this might be who we have. So we got a group here. Were you at the previous? I know you two were at the previous panel. Were you at the previous panel?
Yes.
To name that tune. All right. Well, we're going to dive in a little deeper with some of the soundtracks from this season, and then maybe you could tell me about ones that I missed. You know, what we were watching this year and what has good music. Come on down. Come on in. So, hello. I'm Jayson Napolitano. I am the owner of Scarlet Moon. We are a local San Diego-based game music label. And so what does that mean? We are a record label. We release these albums that you see up here. Some of them are soundtracks, some of them are arrange albums. We are a PR agency for composers and labels. And we are an artist representation group. So we represent famous composers from Japan and try to pair them up with creatives outside of Japan. And fan of video games, fan of anime, and listen to a lot of music, and wanted to come share at the convention here. Love that we have something local here in San Diego to talk about this, but wanted to share a little bit about the 2025 anime season and what some of the great music has been. As you can see on the slide here, I'm supposed to have a co-panelist, Dale North. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here due to a family emergency, which is unfortunate because he watches more anime than anyone I know, and is a composer and big music enthusiast. So he would have a lot to add, but unfortunately he couldn't be here, so we'll get by with me today. So thank you all for being here. So a little bit about me. If you were in the previous panel, you might have heard this. I kind of touched on what Scarlet Moon does, but I've been working in games for nearly 20 years in the enthusiast media, and started Scarlet Moon in 2013, and already mentioned a lot of the stuff that we do as a label here in San Diego and around the world. And then I'll share a little bit about Dale. Even though he couldn't be here, he's also been in the industry for about 20 years, in the enthusiast media, as well as audio services. Actually, I'm reading this now and realized I didn't update Dale's information on this slide, and it says the same thing for me. But he actually used to write we both wrote for a blog called Japanator. It was around maybe 10 years ago. He's written for anime magazines. He's worked on over 100 video game soundtracks, and he's looking forward to working on his first anime project as well. So, what's this panel about today? Between just me, between Dale and I, we've watched a lot of anime in this year, and we're going to share some of our opinions about what the best music has been. We'll explain a bit why, and why we thought these were the best, and we will ask for your input too. We'd love to hear if you've seen some of these shows, what you thought of the music, and then at the end, and we've included both series and theatrical releases. And then at the end, we'll have time for you to share a little bit about something you're watching that has great music that maybe we didn't highlight, so we can talk about that a little bit as well. Sound good? All right, we're at the end of the day here, so who's been here all 3 days? Almost everybody who's sitting here. Good. What was the best thing we saw?
Probably that cosplay thing on Saturday, the competition.
Ah.
Is anybody there for that one or not?
Yeah.
Oh dang.
What was the best thing you two saw?
It's probably between like the anime game show or today's event. But yeah, all the game shows basically.
Very
It was
cool.
really fun.
Very cool. And what about you?
Maybe seeing the background costumes out there. It's pretty cool.
It is. I've seen a lot of very impressive. Come on down. Come on in. I came yesterday for the Supertonic show. Did anyone catch them play an hour-long set of it's a big band, so they have like brass, a guitar. They had 9 players doing different covers of anime, and then today there was an orchestral ensemble, 22 players upstairs playing orchestral versions of anime music. So those were my highlights. That's what I really liked seeing. So, all right, well, good. We're here at the end of the event. So we're going to dive right into Dr. Stone. Is anyone watching this show?
Catching up.
You're catching up? How far in are you?
Finished season 1.
Season 1. Anyone? No one else is watching it?
I think I'm one season behind.
So you're in season 4, I think.
Yeah.
Come on in, have a seat. It's a casual conversation as we wind down the event and talking about some of the best music of the season. And I have to admit, I haven't seen a single episode of Dr. Stone. And this was a show that my co-panelist Dale was going to speak to. And I made it a point to listen to the soundtrack for season 5 because I knew we would be talking about it. So I have listened to the soundtrack multiple times, but have not seen the show. And so this is the final season this season. And the composers of the series are, there's a trio. So Tatsuya Kato, Hiroaki Tsutsumi, and Yuki Kanesaka. The opening theme is Casanova Posse by Ali, and the ending theme is Supernova by Kana Boon. And those are the two opening themes rather. I guess they switched mid-season. And then the ending theme is No Man's World by Otoha. And I would describe the style of this soundtrack as eclectic. For anyone who's heard it, there's a lot of different styles. There's vocals, there's rap, there's jazz, there's electronic, there's pop. So a lot of different styles. Obviously, it's from this year. And sorry if you were at the previous panel, but I did embed a song for us to listen to from the show. There was so much great music in the show that I was really torn between which track I wanted to include. But this is the one I picked just because it was so quirky. Let me see if I can play this without it taking me out of the... Right, with the weird vocal snippets, and then really kind of cool, intense action with drums. So I think this is a pretty cool track. So, no, don't play it again. Maybe I can't make it stop now. I know how I'll make it stop by going to the slide again. So, what do you think? Sounds pretty interesting, right? The whole soundtrack's really cool. There's a lot of really cool vocal stuff, hip hop.
Is this like a top 10 list?
I think I have about 8 that I picked out of stuff that I heard this year that I thought was good. I watched some shows that I didn't find the music that great, so I didn't include them. So it's really kind of what Dale, as my co-panelist, had intended to be here, picking Dr. Stone and me. So yeah. Come on in, have a seat. We're just talking about our the stamp. You can bring it up here, and I have a stamp now, I guess. They empowered me with the stamp. And if you want to hang out and hear about the best soundtracks of 2025, you're welcome. Which one am I stamping? Balboa Room?
Yeah. This one.
Panels. The middle one. All right, right in the
Thank
middle.
you so much.
Of course.
Thank you. And you've been here before.
Yes. That's what we're talking about, exactly that. Did you hear the song we were playing earlier? It's like a weird one.
I think for all the past 2 seasons, it's been like the host.
I need to listen to the whole soundtrack for the whole series, but I haven't. So I did listen to season 5 though. Highly recommend it. It's really cool. Sounds like a couple of you are watching it. I think this is a show that I want to watch, but preparing for this panel, given that I hadn't been watching it, I was unable to watch 5 seasons of show for you all. I apologize, but certainly it's something where you hear the music and it makes you curious about, well, what's going on in the show? Why is the music so good? Why is it so quirky? So it is something I'm looking forward to diving into after this panel prep. Come on in, have a seat. We're talking about the best music from anime this year. And if you need a stamp, I can do that for you too. right. So the next one we're going to cover is Leviathan. Has anyone watched this one this year? I know I see some familiar faces from the previous panel, and I double dipped. I actually did this slide deck first for the best soundtracks, and as I grabbed my favorite song from each show, I said, oh, why don't I put that and name that tune as well. So Leviathan is an interesting show about a parallel universe where it takes place in World War I, the start of World War I, and basically there's different factions and things, and there's a tale of these two characters you see on the screen, and their relationship being on different sides of the conflict. And so this is the first season of the show. It's on Netflix. If you watch your anime on Netflix, the composers are Joe Hisaishi. Does anyone know that name?
Yeah, Ghibli, right?
Yeah, all the Ghibli stuff Joe Hisaishi is known for. So Joe Hisaishi did the opening theme and the ending theme for Leviathan. And the other two composers for the, and I realized I got interrupted on Dr. Stone and didn't talk about the other composers. But the composers for the main music for the show are Nobuko Toda and Kazuma Jinochi. And they're really remarkable to me because they got their start in video games. And I'm a huge gamer. Scarlet is largely a video game music company. And so it was really cool as I started watching Leviathan. I had a list of like the top shows of 2025, and I started watching them. Leviathan was the first one I started watching. And I was like, oh god, hey, I know these composers. And so the opening theme is Paths Combined by Joe Hisaishi, featuring Diana Garnett. And the ending theme is The Sky Ahead. And the styles for this one are really orchestral, militaristic, since there's a lot of combat. There's world music, since they're traveling over through different places in Europe, so there's kind of different elements and instruments that they feature throughout the soundtrack. And then there's a couple of ballad-like vocal songs. And so to tell you a little bit about Joe Hisaishi, you mentioned he did all the Ghibli works, Spirited Away, My Neighbor Totoro, Princess Mononoke, Howl's Moving Castle. He also did a video game, which I was a big fan of, called Ni no Kuni. And so that was his foray into video games. But to share a little bit about Nobuko Toda, the composer, used to work at Konami. So worked on the Metal Gear Solid 3, Metal Gear Solid 4, and the Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker soundtracks. Worked on Halo 4 and Halo 5. Did some contributions to Final Fantasy 14, Kingdom Hearts 3D, Dream Drop Distance, Ghost in the Shell. I don't know how to pronounce this one, but one of the versions of Ghost in the Shell, SAC 20245. Maybe I put too many numbers in there. Ultraman and Star Wars Visions. And then it turned out that the other composer, Kazuma Jinochi, also worked on Halo 4 and 5 and Metal Gear Solid 4. So Toda and Jinochi actually have a music studio that they work together in Japan and work on different films and animation and games. And Jinochi also worked on Pokemon Detective Pikachu, for those who saw that. Star Wars Visions, Ultraman, Batman Arkham Shadow. So they've been pretty prolific, but an interesting case where they came from largely working in video games to working on anime, and now they're working on a show with Joe Hisaishi. So how cool is that? So I recommend checking out the show. I do want to go back to Dr. Stone. Sorry, as I was interrupted with the power of the stamp. But the composers that are listed here, I didn't know if there are other works prior to preparing for this panel. So Tatsuya Kato is known for Food Wars, Free, Future Diary, Fate, Khalid, Liner, Prism, Ilya, Love Live Sunshine, and Trigun Stampede. So has anyone seen any of those?
Yeah.
Maybe some good music in those. Hiroaki Tsutsumi has worked on a little show you might have heard on called Jujutsu Kaisen. Anyone watching that? It's a good show. That band I was mentioning that played yesterday, Supertonic, they played Lost in Paradise, a version, the cover up there was really nice. Also Tokyo Revengers, Alice in Borderland, Hyperdimension Neptunia, and then worked on and performed on several Pokemon game soundtracks. And then the last composer listed here, Yuki Kanesaka, worked on Jujutsu Kaisen 0, Ninja Kamui, the Final Fantasy VII Remake, the Demon Slayer game, and Sonic Racing Crossroads. So this is another instance of composers who work primarily in games making their way into the anime space. So that's pretty cool. And then I mentioned that the vocalist Diana Garnett in the previous panel is also a pretty well-known voice actor. He's worked on a ton of shows in games in Japan, including Genshin Impact, Zone Zero, and several others as well. So that takes me to Sakamoto Days. Is anyone watching this show this season?
Planning to.
Planning to? You've seen it? Anyone else? Interesting show about, you can see the picture here. And on the bottom of the picture is this legendary assassin, Sakamoto. And at some point in his career as an assassin, he falls in love, starts a family, and swears off killing, and becomes the retired assassin in the top portion of the image there, out of shape, but still has some moves. So it's a pretty fun show about once you get through the assassin's world, it's hard to get out. Maybe reminds you a little bit of John Wick. Anyone see John Wick? You can't escape the world once you enter it. And there's a lot of similarities where he's one of those things where he can walk into a room and kill all 100 people and not get hit. So a fun show. I'm only 4 episodes in, so I think there's 22 episodes or something like that, so it's not a huge investment right now. It's in the first season this year. The composer here, Yuki Hayashi, anyone know that name? The composer's primarily known for a very famous ongoing anime that's ending this year. If you can tell me, maybe I'll give you a prize here.
Oh, maybe My Hero?
It is My Hero Academia, yeah. Would you like a CD or vinyl?
I don't have a vinyl player.
CD?
I don't have a CD player either.
Fair enough. Yeah, up to you if you want one. But yeah, so Yuki Hayashi is known primarily as the composer of My Hero Academia, which is wrapping up this year. This is the 8th season, and amazing music in that show. And usually a lot of times you probably noticed that sometimes a famous composer is signed on to a show and does the first couple seasons, and then as the show goes on, they move on to other stuff and another composer comes in. Well, not with My Hero Academia, so Yuki Hayashi's done all of that. But really interesting to hear a different style. I'm going to play a song here from the show that is very different from My Hero Academia. So tell me what you think. Pretty fun, right? Not something you would picture from the My Hero Academia guy, right? So the opening theme is Hashide Sakamoto by Bondi. And the ending is Futsu by Content Candy. So I listed the styles here as jazzy, upbeat, a little irreverent maybe, a little like silly in some places. So it really fits with the theme of the show that I was talking about, where retired assassin who's out of shape but still got some moves. It's a lot of fun. And I realized as I played this track, I didn't play the song from Leviathan. But maybe we'll go back if we have time at the end and listen to the song from Leviathan. So yeah, I highly recommend the show. It's a lot of fun so far. I'm looking forward to diving more into it. So the next one I have for you is Solo Leveling. Who's watching Solo Leveling? Nobody's watching Solo Leveling? Did anyone watch the first season? No?
No, I read it.
You read it?
I know the composer, so I don't know.
Yeah. What has he worked on?
What has he worked on?
A few Break. Of course, Gundam.
Yeah, it's a long list. Kill La Kill, Blue Exorcist,
Yeah, I was gonna
Seven
say
Deadly
Trigger
Sins,
Works, like,
Guilty Crown, Mobile Suit Gundam Unicorn, and then in the game space, he did Xenoblade Chronicles X, and he also contributed some music to League of Legends I saw, which I wasn't even aware of. So Solo Leveling is a fun show about a world where gates have opened up and monsters are in them, and then people have awoken as heroes and they're ranked by class, and someone who's the low rank suddenly becomes, as you watch the show, is able to level up, and very much in a game-like fashion. It's kind of silly in a lot of ways, but interesting. Yeah, Sawano does the music for it, and it sounds, whereas we heard that previous example from Sakamoto days, where maybe that doesn't sound anything like you might have expected from like the composer who did My Hero Academia. The music for Solo Leveling feels like it could fit right into Attack on Titan. So they're not like very different. The opening theme is Reawake Her by Sawano and a vocalist, and the ending is Apex by TK. And I would say the styles are classical, orchestral, and vocal. And so the soundtrack, just like Attack on Titan, has a lot of vocal themes in it. And so I picked one of those to play for you here. Listen to this a little bit. Does the vocalist sound familiar? Also featured pretty prominently in Attack on Titan. And I'm playing this till where it gets to the refrain. There's a lot of vocal themes, and the other ones seem more popular, but this one's just really catchy. Song, and it actually ties in a lot with the themes of the show about closing the distance between the competitors. And as the show goes on, he becomes more and more powerful, which is fun to watch. And so I'm kind of curious to see how he can become even more powerful in season 3, because in season 2 he gets pretty powerful.
What I'll add about Sawano is that, like, Sawano's like meme, or I guess it's like signature, or like the meme of it is he always has like a signature drop, and then it drops like all the instruments, and then the bass kicks, and then everything goes back. So like the most famous one is Kill la Kill, right? It's like when she sings Don't Lose Your Way, and everything stops and drops, and then it goes back into the chorus. That's like the signature that's in like every single.
Did he do it in this one?
Yeah.
Okay.
But the drop was a little bit longer. He literally says like drop, right? Like drop, and then it goes lower, and then it goes back into.
I'll have to listen for that. I wasn't aware of the beat.
That is like the signature that he does in like, I don't know if it was like Zankyo no Terror. It was like one of those popular ones after Kill la Kill. That's when people started to notice, because I was like into that stuff. during that time. That was the
That's
the
funny.
signature.
I'm gonna listen for it now. I realize I'm not talking to the microphone. You can all hear me okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
perfect, really.
Wonderful. All right, well, the next one up is another Netflix show, The Summer Hikaru Died. Anyone watching this one? I see nods.
Oh, I see it on the shelves of like.
It keeps telling you to like, hey, watch
Yeah,
the show, watch the
exactly.
show. Anyone else over here watching it?
Also on the to-do list, but I know the basic premise.
Is this, I'm watching, like, I'm started watching it, or I'm thinking about it, or it wasn't very good?
Thinking about it.
Okay.
About it. Yeah, it's definitely been like front and center for like books and anime and stuff.
Well, Netflix seems to really be pushing this one.
That's probably
A lot
why,
of
huh?
people. Interestingly, yeah, so this show, it's the first season, it's a new show. It's on Netflix, and a trio of composers again. An opening theme, Saikai by, again, Bondi, right? So 2 opening themes for major shows this year. And in fact, the opening, I'm not one that likes a lot of opening themes and ending themes, but this one was actually really good. And the ending theme, You Are My Monster by Toboe. I don't know if it's Japanese or not. But the styles for this one, classical, emotional, ethereal, and, you know, the show is about a friendship of these 2 characters here. And as the name suggests, there's some darker themes in the show. It becomes pretty obvious in the first episode that because the show is so new, all these shows are new, I'm not going to give any spoilers, but in the first episode there's already a plot twist, and it sets the stage for the rest of the show, which is then becomes a mystery. Spirits and death, themes like that, and so the music is pretty spooky, ethereal, these kinds of things, but there are moments where the characters get a reprieve, and so the song that I picked from the season is called Shopping Mall Kawaii, and so here is the song that I picked. Nice city pop tune. Very well done.
Very 90s.
So that's a fun one. The composers here, in my notes I have, Taro Umabayashi worked on Yuri on Ice, Dead Dead Demons Deeded Destruction, From Now On We Begin Ethics, and then the other composer, Tomonori Hayashibe, worked on Yuri on Ice as well, Space Dandy, and then largely worked in games. So worked on Mario and Sonic at the London 2012 Olympic Games, Card Captor Sakura, Super Monkey Ball 3D, and Car Battler Joe. So another composer, another example of someone who went from largely working in video games to working in anime. And then the third composer here, Yuki Kurihara, worked on Drop Kick on My Devil, Haigakura, and the game Honor of Kings. So I don't know if anyone saw any of those shows, but those are some other works that the composers worked on. So this is a small investment to watch the show. It's 12 episodes, 24 minutes, with all of Netflix's really long translation, localization credits. I guess they want you to know that they didn't do it with AI. So yeah, it's a good show. All right, who has seen Infinity Castle? No, a couple hands. I see several hands in here. All right, this was an example where I hadn't watched the show at all. So over the course of this year, preparing for the film, I watched the entire show. And one of the talents we represent as a label is the vocalist Nami Nakagawa. And she's known for the main theme. Well, I guess she does a lot of the Japanese singing throughout the series, and is best known for the Utano Kamado? Kamado is his last name, right? Tanjiro. And so she's known for that song, and then she also was able to work on the film. So I was like, okay, I guess I'll watch Demon Slayer, get to know a little bit about one of our talents worked on. So this movie came out this year. I think everybody knew that it was going to be a lot of action in this movie. So there's a lot of intense orchestral music, but really interestingly, they inserted more electronic elements than I think I would have expected based on the series, the show. And so that might be a part because the composer for the show is Goshina, and the film was scored by Goshina and Yuki Kajiura, who's really famous in the anime world, and does a lot of electronic work. So perhaps that's where that element came from. There's 2 theme songs that came with the film: "The World Where the Sun Never Rises" by Eimer and "Shine in the Cruel Night" by Lisa. And so the song I have here is the latter of those 2. Let's start playing that. Very sensitive. Has anyone heard this song before? Other than maybe it was in the movie. So, I'll turn the volume down a little bit. So Lisa is a famous artist in Japan. Has worked on Sword Art Online, Fate Zero, Angel Beats, Dengeki Bunko, Fighting Climax. And the soundtrack itself, like I said, as you can see on the screen, is by Goshina and Yuki Kajiura. And so Goshina is another example, yet another. We're seeing a theme here where a composer goes from largely working on video games to working on anime. So Goshina is known for contributions to the Tales of RPG series from Bandai Namco. Tales of everything. There's like 23 games in the series. God Eater, if anyone's played that. Tekken, the fighting game. He's worked on Ace Combat, Idolmaster, and recently Harvestella, which was like a RPG farming sim game that Square Enix put out. So now he's working in anime, working on the Demon Slayer series, and also the film. And then I think a lot of people probably know of Yuki Kajiura. Produces Calafina, which is a famous group that
Yeah, she also does like SAO Madoka, I think.
Sword Art Online, Puella Magi, Madoka Magic, I don't know if I'm saying that right. Fate Zero, Garden of Sinners, Noir, Mobile Suit Gundam Seed, Fist of the North Star, and then for my excitement, worked on the Xenosaga video game series. And so I know her music there really well. But very famed composer working in anime. Really cool to see them collaborate on the Infinity Castle soundtrack. And interestingly, you know, like I said, the film is, as I think everybody expected, it was going to be a lot of action. But because they have flashback sequences, there are moments where there can be more emotional storytelling or backstory, as we know, as we learn about these demons and Demon Slayer. Most of them are evil for a reason. So you get some backstory into some of the demons we've been seeing throughout the series, and some tragic stories that don't call for heavy, intense action music. So it is pretty varied. Unfortunately, they haven't put a soundtrack out for the film yet. Although there's a bunch of weird music releases of people who probably just put something up, I don't see a soundtrack, so I'm gonna make something and upload it as the soundtrack kind of thing. So yeah, I recommend seeing the movie if you haven't already. It'll be interesting to see if they take the route that Mugen Train did, where they split the movie up into episode-like bites and put out a season, so maybe they'll do that. Alright, this one, we talked about My Hero Academia, right? So we are enjoying right now the final season. I think the final episode is supposed to air, I think, on December 12th. And I think they're saying it's going to be 8 to 11 episodes for this season. We mentioned the composer, Yuki Hayashi. Again, remarkable that to work on 8 seasons of a show and do almost all the music writing yourself. The opening theme is the Revo by Porno Graffiti, a very prolific and long-running band in Japan who's done opening and ending themes for tons of shows.
Right.
Yeah. And then the ending is I by a Bump of Chicken, again, another group who's done countless opening and ending themes for a lot of different shows. I think everyone knows the music from this series by now, but orchestral, uplifting, especially as we've gotten into the latter seasons, pretty intense and emotional music. And so I picked the soundtrack that they have for this season is just 4 songs long. A lot of times they don't release the full soundtrack because they don't want spoilers. They don't want, the track that says Midoriya dies. If that's what happens, I don't know. I haven't read the manga or anything, but sometimes there's spoilers in the track names. Or, even not in the track names, just listening to the music, sometimes the music speaks to you in a way that you say, oh gosh, this is very depressing. Like, what's this ending going to be about, if not, happily ever after kind of thing. So, they only have 4 songs, so I picked a song called Butterfly Effect. Pretty cool, right? Gets you amped up. Final battle. So when we talked about Hayashi's work on Sakamoto Days, we didn't talk about all the stuff Hayashi has worked on. But I have the list here. Haikyuu, Gundam Build Fighters, Shaman King Flowers, Rich Man, Poor Woman. I hope I'm not, because I wrote these really quickly, I hope I didn't mess up the words, and then I upload this video to YouTube and look like an idiot. But Hayashi's also worked on some games. I don't know if you knew that. I didn't know that. Dragon Quest Adventure of Dai, worked on the game version of that. Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core Reunion, and some Full Metal Alchemist games. Yeah, interesting. I didn't know any of those things. So now I'm kind of curious. I want to go check those out. Crisis Core Reunion is probably the most likely of those games that I'll play. So I'm curious to know what he did on that. Maybe a trailer or a main theme or something. Very cool. All right. Who saw the Chainsaw Man movie? Not yet? Okay, well, we'll give you all the spoilers. No, I'm just kidding. So most of the people in the room have seen it. And this was another one where I wanted to see the movie with Dale, who was supposed to be my co-panelist today. And so I hadn't seen the show. It's only 12 episodes or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So I went and watched the show. I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. And it's funny because my family's in the room. My mother-in-law got me a gift of I never watched the show. She got me a jacket from the show, and we're like, okay, that's random. But now I've seen the show, now it's like, oh man, I want that jacket. It's a cool show. The music is really great. And I think you get the idea. You might, without spoilers, you likely know that the movie has a little different pacing than the show, and maybe that's why they decided to make it a movie. Is this arc has a more emotional component to it, less action focused, and so it made for a good film. I enjoyed the movie. The composer is the same as the composer from the series, so it's Kensuke Ushio. And the theme song is Iris Out by Kenshi Yonezu, who is very famous and a very iconic voice, and so you recognize that in the film right away. There's actually a very special performance in the credits of the movie where Yonezu collaborates with a singer, which I wish I wrote down because I just said all of that, but Dale was very excited to hear that theme in the credits theme. And if he were here, we would be able to gush about that. So look forward to the credit sequence and the music there. But the style is certainly instrumental, electronic, a little more tender than you might expect from what you saw in the show. And Ushio worked on Devilman Crybaby, A Silent Voice, the Heike story, Japan Sinks, and Dan Da Dan. So maybe you've heard of or seen some of those. I'm going to play a song here to kind of illustrate just how different the music in the movie is from maybe what you heard in the show. Interestingly, we did a Name That Tune right before this panel, and someone raised their hand immediately and said, "This is from the Chainsaw Man movie." Wow. I would have never guessed that. So I think this one's might still be in theaters, maybe?
It's probably like leaving theaters now.
Yeah, it's been
But,
about a month.
Yeah.
So maybe for anyone who wanted to see it, you might be able to sneak in a last chance. But a very fun movie, a great soundtrack. And that's what I have from this season. And I want to open it up to what did we miss? What are things you saw this season that maybe we left out? I didn't play the song though from Leviathan, so I was going to play that briefly. It's worth playing because it's a song that Joe Hisaishi wrote. And the vocalist I mentioned is Diana Garnett. And I'll pull up my notes here to tell you that she had worked on a lot of different, she's a voice actress in Japan, known for a lot of music. Let's see here. She worked on, in terms of anime, Naruto Shippuden, and a lot of others, and then VO for Genshin Impact, Goddess of Victory, Arc Knights, Castlevania, Super Bomberman R, a bunch of stuff. So let me play a little bit of this. Ghibli-esque?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was kind of like a Disney, what's it called? Ring-ups or whatever. Honestly.
So I feel like it's not often that we hear Joe Hisaishi outside of Ghibli. So this was a nice treat as I dived into Leviathan. I didn't know he worked on it. I didn't know the other two composers were game composers, so I was pleasantly surprised. It's a nice song. So I see a lot of folks filing in as we wrap up, but the soundtracks we focused on today for the 2025 season were Dr. Stone, the final season, Leviathan, the introductory season, Sakamoto Days, the introductory season, Solo Leveling, the second season, The Summer Hikaru died, the first and debut season, Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, Infinity Castle, the film, My Hero Academia, the 8th and final season, and Chainsaw Man, the movie Reze arc, the film. So what did we miss? What are other people, and are you watching anything? Do you pay enough attention to know that the music is awesome? What did we miss?
Several of the composers also worked on tokusatsu projects. For example, Zamano did Kamen Rider Zets. This, like, it started in September, and it was interesting that like they can go between several different mediums for like games, animation, and live action. So I enjoy that a lot.
It is interesting, because I feel like sometimes the composer is, you listen to it and you can identify them. Other times, I feel like when we compared My Hero Academia with Sakamoto Days, they're so different that you wouldn't have picked up that it was maybe the same composer. And we know the production cycles for stuff are all over the place. So sometimes you work on something years before it ever comes out. So it's interesting just to see how it's sequenced when it does come out, to be like, oh, these two things came out on the same day, but what was the sequencing and when they actually prepared them? I saw a hand.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to the second season of Tiny the Evil.
Oh,
Yeah, that had a really good soundtrack, no?
Which one?
Yojo Senki, Saga Canyon Evil, World War I, Isekai with magic.
Yeah, World War I, World War II mix.
That was not on my radar, so I'm gonna have
Oh,
to
you
check
should
that out.
check it out. Apparently the second season is gonna be African.
And is the music's good?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty good.
Very good.
Yeah.
It has one season, a movie, an OVA. Second season is supposed to come out soon, eventually.
Isn't that interesting? The Leviathan is about World War I also,
Yeah.
so we had two shows about World War I like at the same time. That's interesting.
Yeah, wartime movies.
Yeah.
Probably, I think Japan likes them.
Yeah.
I like how some composers like hire like the same artists and singers. 'Cause
Yeah.
I know for Yuki Kajira, she's obviously super popular.
Yeah.
But she always stays hiring Lisa
Yeah.
to sing a lot of the endings and openings that she makes.
And we heard that,
Yeah.
so thank you for
heard
pointing
Lisa
that out.
on it.
We also heard it with Sawano, who
Sawano,
seems to hire
yeah.
the same vocalists. Interestingly, that was an example where I almost felt like you could take the song from one show and put it in the other one, because it was very similar. My understanding is the way that his track titles are notoriously interesting. It seems like he just kind of writes what we were talking about in the previous panel. Sometimes a composer will get hired to write some like a concept album or an image album, where they kind of take in the world and then they write some music based on what they felt about the world, and then that music gets used, those motifs get used to score the film, or in Solano's case, it almost feels like sometimes he just turns over all this music that he wrote and then they cut it to fit the show. So it kind of seems in some ways that it's a really interesting way to go about a soundtrack and listening to it, because a lot of times there'll be like the Solo Leveling 2 soundtrack is the vocal themes, then it's all the orchestral suites, then it's a bunch of piano music. So it's kind of arranged and organized that way, so it's pretty fascinating. Anything else that folks are watching?
The Apothecary Diaries?
Apothecary, that was on my list of things to watch.
Yeah, I mean, it was super popular. Everybody was using the score like in their reels.
Is it 2 seasons now?
Right now, yes. Yeah, we're waiting for season 3 and release.
So is it 12 episodes per season, so it's like 24 episodes so far?
I think it was like more like 20.
Yeah, 24.
24 each.
There you go. So that was why I couldn't watch it in time for today's panel. But it's on my list.
Oh, okay.
The music is really good.
It's really good.
Do we know who the composer is?
I mean, it just is by Lilacs is the name of,
Huh.
I don't know if that's like the name of the singer.
Huh. All right. Well, I'll try pulling that up while we're talking. What else are folks watching right now that has great music that we should know about?
Witchblade?
Witchblade?
Oh, the 90s comic then adapted into the show.
And that's this season?
Oh no, it's
Oh,
a
no,
long
it's
time
a
ago.
long time ago, but I'm making my friends watch it.
There you go. What's old is new.
Oh.
If you haven't seen it before, watch it now.
Oh, I just remembered Digimon Beat Break with Mad Kids. Yeah. So Digimon itself is having a resurgence lately, so I'm glad it's back.
Oh yeah, it feels like it's been a while. I mean, Pokemon's never went away. So now we have Digimon back. I did look up, I googled Apothecary Diaries composer. Satoru Kosaki, who I don't know, but probably should. Also known for Beastars and BB, Fluorite Eyes song. Oh, maybe, so obviously that's popular. Kevin Penkin worked on the Apothecary Diaries. So Kevin Penkin's known for the story of the Shield Hero. What is it? It's a weird title.
Yeah,
Shield
Rising
Hero.
of the Shield.
What's that?
Rising of the Shield Hero.
The Rising of the Shield Hero, and then also Made in Abyss. So that's cool. And then Alisa, who you were mentioning, Alisa Oge Hasana. So they did the soundtrack for that. Kevin Penkin, Tower of God also. It was on my screen here. I could have said The Rising of the Shield Hero.
Yeah, I'll add to the Apothecary Diaries one, Satoru Kosaki you mentioned. I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah.
He did Haruhi and Lucky Star and like all these other End of Monogatari series. And I think a lot of those are like opening and endings are more like catchy pop. So I wonder how that translates to the Apothecary Diaries. Because those are more like catchy, cute girls doing stuff, anime. And I think Apothecary Diaries is a more serious one.
The funny thing is I was asking how many episodes and things, and I had it all written down on my notes here. So yeah, Apothecary Diaries was 24 and 24 episodes, so 48 episodes so far. Someone mentioned earlier, is anyone watching Spy Family?
Oh, yeah.
That's one that,
Cosplay right there.
I haven't seen it, so, that's one I wanted to watch though, but it was 40 plus episodes.
Yes, it's a little bit of an investment.
One Punch Man was on this season.
Oh, no.
Third season.
Oh, yeah.
Not good? Not
Okay,
good?
the first season, beautiful animation, Switch Studios, it's a mess.
That's what I heard, so that's probably low on my list. To Your Eternity. Is anyone watching that?
It's me.
That's season 3 is out right now. That's 40 episodes in. Dan Da Dan is on my list. That one was only 24 episodes because it's its second season, so that one is high on my list. Kaiju number 8 was on my list to watch because it's only been 2 seasons.
I preferred season 1.
Yeah. Who's the composer on that one?
I just know like.
My Dress Up Darling.
Yeah. That one's
It's on the list. Apothecary Diaries is here. Dr. Stone, billion episodes. And then Sakamoto Days, Solo Leveling, Leviathan. Oh, here's one. I'm glad I went through this list. So, I watched through this season, and it wasn't in the panel today because I didn't find the music that great. Is anyone watching Gachiakuta?
Oh,
Oh my gosh, yeah.
That is, something's pretty good.
It's good. It's a good show.
Yeah.
What do you think of the music?
Honestly, I guess it did rappy as
It's
well.
very like hip hop kind of.
So here's the thing about the show is if you listen to that music outside of the show, you're like, oh wow, this is awesome. There is some really cool hip hop. They have like famous rappers in from the anime world doing songs for the show, but the music is used so sparsely and mixed so distantly in the show that you almost don't even hear it. Like you hear someone rapping in the background, but you don't even hear what they're saying. Versus if you go listen to the soundtrack, you'll be like, oh, this is really cool. So that was one where it didn't make my list because it's utilized so seemingly so poorly in the show, but the music is actually pretty good. And then I was hopeful. Ranma 1/2 was my introductory anime back in the 90s.
Yeah, they did a remake.
I was
right?
hoping with the reboot that I thought maybe they were going to kind of reboot it to be more time appropriate. But no, it's the same show. I don't know why they're doing it, but the music isn't remarkable at all. So,
Fair point.
as much as I love the show, I couldn't talk about the music.
Yeah.
Anything else before we break? Stuck it out for. I've been in this room for 2.5 hours. So. I do want to point out, if you want to follow us on socials, we're on Twitter, we're on Blue Sky, you can join our Discord, we're on Instagram. I think I have another version of this slide with my email on it too. So email me, we'd love to hear about what you're doing and listening to, and yeah.
Just a QQ, what is the Gachiakuta about? Is it about cops?
No, so the show is about a floating, this all happens in the first episode. There's a city that everybody lives in. There's class issues, different classes of people, and somebody in the quote lower class is punished for a crime that they maybe did or didn't commit. You have to watch the show, and they are cast into the abyss.
Oh, trash
And,
wizards.
what's that?
Trash wizards.
Yes. And so then it's about them somehow surviving and finding out what this abyss actually is. So that's that show. It's pretty. Who's doing the animation? There's some cool. There's like a lot of graffiti in the show that's actually done by real graffiti artists and
Oh,
put into
really?
the show.
Oh, I saw.
It has kind of like a cool punk kind of street art
I saw
style.
a promo of it on AX.
Yeah.
It looked like it was.
On the
part-
trolleys. It's been advertised on the trolleys
Yeah.
in San Diego, like as recently as a couple weeks ago. So get in touch. The other thing is, if you want to purchase any of the music that we publish as a local San Diego record label, it's up here. I can take credit cards and Venmo. We do have prescription for Sleep Attack on Titan, which is our jazz cover album by Norihiko Hibino. He's one of the composers we represent. He's known for Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. He did that song. And so he does saxophone and he works with a pianist and they do jazz covers of games in anime. And so we put out that series. And then we have a couple soundtracks from local composer Dale North, who was supposed to be here today. And maybe the perk would have been he could sign it for you, but he had a family emergency and he couldn't be here. So thank you all. I know it's the end of the event. Does it end at 6?
Yeah.
All right, well, we closed it out.
30 minutes.
So thank you for being here, everybody. I really appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day.